Hi, everyone. As promised, I am back with Tammy Cohen, my girlfriend from the East Coast. She's from Manhattan. And you're going to love our topic because we're going to talk about how to connect with your kids and, tune in, tap in, turn on where they are already. So welcome, Tammy. I'm glad you're here.
Well, welcome. Well, I'm happy to be here, but thank you for welcoming me. And I just have to say one thing. Everybody, I'm putting out a second book because I work with the best time management organizer, Kathi Burns. And I just had to say, and I was able to do a lot of different things, but also get a second book out. And it's being published very soon. So that's really cool. And thank you, Kathi. Thank you for your knowledge, your skill sets, and helping me get myself more organized and getting me to this place and having me on.
You're so sweet. I can't believe in book number 2. Yeah, we are golden. Talk to us a little bit about this. Let's talk about your journey to start out with. So what brings you to being a woman entrepreneur? I mean, you have so many irons in the fire. Give the people a little bit about your background.
Well, okay. So basically, I have a couple of different things that I do. So I'm a brand messaging consultant in the gem and jewelry space. I work with connecting. I'm really a connector, but I work with connecting designers and clients and people who want very fine and high-end jewelry to high and fine jewelry manufacturers here. I live right near the Diamond District, so that's a great thing. And I also connect brands, brands of product, branded jewelry, gem and jewelry with an appraisal network that I've grown worldwide so that customers can get the correct value for their beautiful branded pieces that they're purchasing for insurance purposes. And so that's kind of like one thing that I do. My husband and I have a restaurant on the Upper East Side of Manhattan where people come and connect with each other. Like, everybody comes, it's kind of like a family atmosphere. It's been on the Upper East Side. It's called 18 Restaurant for 15 years.
Yeah.
Yes, we made it through the pandemic and all of New York's mismanagement, and just put it mildly, and we're there. It's a great place for any families, dates, friends. Everybody comes, and it's like the cheers of the Upper East Side. So that's what I do there. And I founded a women's business network where I connect women with services, but I connect them with each other to build a community of support, non-judgmental women coming together, business owners who really leverage each other's social capital, and they kind of, are there to answer each other's questions and help each other grow to like the next level. What do they want to do and who they want to be? But it's a beautiful thing. That winds up producing a podcast called the Women Beyond the Table podcast, where I connect audiences to women and their amazing stories. I mean, everybody's got a story in their life. They got something to share. Everybody's been through, a road that has a lot of potholes, a lot of challenges, a lot of crazy things going on. And you never know, right? You don't know. Like you meet a person, we all wear our masks, right? Everything's fine. Everything's great. This is good. I have success. You look at social media and it's all like success stories, right? And you're kind of not really knowing. And then you listen to somebody's story and you see everything that they've been through and gone through. And not only does it like resonate, but you're also like, wow, if they could do this, if they can achieve, if they could find happiness and success and find themselves going through all this, I can. So that's a connection point for me, that people hear each other's stories. And then, of course, the books, text messages to my sons. There was a first edition and now the expanded edition, which is text message to my sons, a guide to using mobile devices to connect and communicate with your kids is coming out in the beginning of May. And it's also about parents. And I have like just grandparents, loved ones using it to connect with partners, sharing messages of love, inspiration, gratitude, appreciation, accountability, sharing wisdom, and like having that connection, because there's a lot of distraction. That you're an organizer. There's so much distraction out there. And, these algorithms are designed just to completely engage you 24/7 so that you can't even look at anything or focus anymore. And a lot of it, unfortunately, is misinformation, indoctrination, violence, hate. I'm Jewish. It's just been a nightmare. So my attitude is why not send that positive, that higher frequency energy of love and gratitude, which is way higher vibrating than that negative stuff, which is hate and despair and violence and anger. And why don't we do that and reach out and put that out there? Because when you release a message of love and inspiration and gratitude, you're releasing this energy, and the recipient, whoever that lucky recipient is not only feeling connected, but they're releasing that energy too. And it becomes a big thing the more people do it. So yes, that's now my mission. I found my mission later in life, but I found it with these books.
That's a great mission to show love and to show other people how to show love. Talk to me about the beginnings of the book, because I think it's such an interesting topic, and it's text messages. How did that start? I know you have 3 sons, right? And how old were they? And when this all started happening, and what happened? You started texting them love messages, or tell me a little bit about that.
Okay. So we all know, like, the phone could be used for many different kinds of messages. Yeah. So always when they were in high school and they were younger, now they're 31, 29, and 24. But when they were young, I mean, it was always a message that was a reminder, a reprimand, or a command. Where are you? What are you doing? What do you want? What do you mean you need more money? Like, you forgot this. I'm meeting you there. Be there. Oh my gosh, whatever. It was never like anything more than that. And right. The pandemic, when it hit and we were all shut down, so this was like 2020 going into early, the end of 2020 going into 2021, I was like, I found myself, I know that the pandemic was very challenging, but for me, it was very an awakening, okay? Because I had been very busy running around and working and traveling, and I was working with clients, and then the pandemic happened. Not only did I have to stop and think, but I lost like half my income overnight. So I had time, and my kids were grown. So it wasn't like, God salute those parents with kids at home, like trying to do this learning and keep them occupied. I was like, God bless these women. So I was like, I have time to look into myself. And Kathi, I just didn't like who I was. I didn't like the person. I wasn't happy. I had a lot of issues, I had a lot of limiting beliefs, and I knew it. And I wanted to explore, understand why I'm feeling the way I feel, why I'm not happy. And I started, getting into this like journey. I hired a life coach, I hired a business coach, and I delved into Tony Robbins and Deepak. I mean, I remember when all the riots and the protests were happening, and they were happening right here in New York City. People were breaking windows and looting. And I was just like, what is going on here? Like, I woke up, I'm living in, how I was born in Manhattan. I woke up and all the stores are boarded. I live on 57th and 3rd. So Madison, 5th, everything's boarded up. Your streets are boarded. I'm like, what is going on? I was losing it. So my friend out of nowhere, like a colleague of mine, a work colleague, his friend was like, hey, you want to join my meditation 21-day challenge? It's Deepak's. And I was just like, oh, yeah, yeah. And he was like, okay, you're in. I was like, okay, Kathi. That started me on Tony Robbins, Joe Dispenza, Mind Valley. I was all over Mind Valley. I was going on peer quests. I was learning from Robin Sharma. I was reading nonstop. It just opened up this like flood. A Man's Search for Meaning. I mean, Viktor Frankl, Napoleon Hill. I just was eating things up, and I was like, wow, like there's so much information. I looked at Marcus Aurelius and Tao Te Ching. Just because each book you read, each course, each program, like opens your mind up to something. So I was like, wow, this stuff's amazing. I want to share this with my kids, because they don't learn this stuff in school. Like, nobody tells you about limiting beliefs. Nobody tells you you're worthy. Nobody tells you it's going to be fine. Nobody tells you challenges or things you can learn from. One of the best pieces of advice I had gotten at that time was a colleague told me, you really want to do something amazing for yourself? Listen to the commencement speeches of celebrities from colleges. So I listened to J.K. Rowling, I listened to Denzel, Will Ferrell, and Tyrion from Game of Thrones, they all said the same thing, like, failure is okay. you learn from it. Nobody's overnight. I worked in 100 different jobs. I didn't have money to eat. I lived in a lousy apartment. I failed. I was rejected, but I got stronger and I learned. And I was like, wow, I have to share this with my kids. So I started messaging them this stuff, and I was sharing everything, every quote, everything. I was like, what do you think? But what happened was I was also wanted them to know how much I love them and how worthy they are and how extraordinary they are. And, and just, I wanted them to get that information, that those messages that I never received growing up, because I grew up in my household had a lot of trauma and a lot of different things going on in it. And I was like, this is what I want to do. And I started one day and I read Atomic Habits and I realized I have to form these habits. I have to do it every day. So it became a thing that I did every day. And I'll tell you, Kathi, because you've told me this, right? What did you say? How many minutes do you have in a day? How many hours do you have in a day that, you're awake and you're functioning? Well, how can you make them more productive? So I figured out I can find 10 minutes to get this message out to them, because it's 10 minutes and we all have a phone, and it doesn't cost anything more to send that message of love and wisdom and gratitude and accountability. But the most important thing is you have to reach kids where they're at, not where you want them to be. Now, I grew up where everything was in person. You had a conversation. They're not there. Everybody's holding a phone in their hand or their pocket or their bed. That's where they are. That's what you do. And I never expected a response from them. It's unconditional. Because, why? Because you can't.
Right.
You're sending them love. You can't say, now I'm not going to talk to you or send you something. You didn't tell me I love you. They're not like that. They don't tell me, mommy, I love you. It's not like that. So I just let it go and I just put it out there.
And I bet you had amazing responses eventually from your sons. I bet you've become more of a tight-knit unit, haven't you?
Oh my gosh. So I didn't realize the impact on them until they wrote the foreword to the books. What it means to them. Yeah.
Wow.
So what it means to them to know that somebody loves them enough, somebody cares enough about them to take the time to tell them that, and makes them feel bulletproof, like the day can go sideways, but they know that somebody cares, somebody loves them. Because what is depression? It's lack of connection. It's disconnection and lack of purpose. And telling somebody like, you're extraordinary, and it's okay to fail, and you know what, you got this. It just makes them feel much better, because life is not a straight road. Like we all understand that. So they wrote the foreword to the book. And what happened was, with the when I really got accountable, because you can't expect anybody to be accountable if you're not going to model it, right? When I explained to them, like I said to them, like, I'm so sorry. I wasn't happy. All the times I yelled, I screamed, I reacted poorly to you. I did things that I'm not happy about. It wasn't you. Like it wasn't you. I was triggered because I was in a bad place, because I came from something and I had a lot of limiting beliefs about myself, and I didn't know better. It was never you. And you know what? At that point, when I started being real, and I started being authentic, and I started letting them know, not because we're best friends. We're not, I want to make it clear, we're not best friends. But I was honest, I was open to them. They saw me as a human being. And that really helped shift the relationship, because they were like, you're a human being. And they respected that I did it and that I was open. And I just hope that, they can pass that on and be that authentic, or be open, and with their kids or with their loved ones or whoever they want to be, and be accountable in their lives. That's it.
Yeah, that's so important, and what a big growth spell. I think that the pandemic did a lot of really good things, as well as, some crazy things, and a lot of people came out of it stronger. I know I did as well. You're reminding me of a lady named Grandma Sparky. And I just spoke with her at a conference over the weekend, and she's fantastic. Her name is Elise, and she runs around the world giving out stickers that say, "Who I am makes a difference." And she has it point up to the sky, and she has little cheerleaders go bing, and she gives it to everybody, and she has everybody else give these little stickers to other
love that.
people. Yeah, I have to connect you too. You guys are simpatico, and same message. It's like, let's show love. Let's let people know that they're not alone. Her big thing is to prevent child suicide, which is a huge thing. And just just like you said, that if you just let people know that they are going to stumble and fall, but everybody does, you can always get back up. And actually, that's what this podcast is designed to do, as is, I believe, your podcast is designed to do, is to let everybody know that we're not alone. And especially as women entrepreneurs, we all have, it's this, woo, it's like, woo, really high, and then crash, right? It happens. That's what business is, right? And that's what actually life is as well. So I applaud you for that. I'm so excited. Now, people can pre-order this book too. So I'm going to put the link below so you can pre-order. And then the book will be released in early May. So I'm very excited about it. I bet you when you read that foreword, it probably brought you to tears, huh? When you're.
Yeah, it really, wow. I was just like, this is beautiful. Like they wrote it, I was just like, wow, you guys, I love it. And what's really amazing is, and this personally, one of the things I realized, because, with the new book coming out and the messages, I've never stopped sending messages. It's not like I wrote this book and that's it, done. No, the new edition has way more messages in it because I've written way more since the first book came out. And I have introductions on the chapters about why I have 11 chapters. Why message about gratitude and appreciation? Why message about leadership and focus? Why would you send these kind of messages? And then reflections about, what I wish for my kids, what I hope for the audience who's reading the book gets out of this. And then, of course, in the epilogue about, the next chapters in your life, sending messages. What I learned, and this is really interesting to me because I'm on my own journey right now. I was diagnosed with breast cancer and I'm starting treatment soon. And I learned that God had me doing this, had me messaging my kids because I was really messaging myself.
Mm-hmm.
I was really connecting more to myself. And I didn't realize that. I didn't set out to that. I set out to connect to them, right? Yeah. But I realized that everything I said, when you talk about resilience, when you talk about life giving you gifts, they're not challenges, they're gifts. You're going to learn from them. When you send these type of messages, it becomes real for you. You can't message that to somebody and not own it, right? So exactly. The things I learned was I'm connecting to myself as well. It's not just connecting to that, even though that was the goal. And I messaged myself for all these years. So, and it's getting me through being more positivity and everything into my own journey that I'm going through. So it's very interesting. It's very powerful. And that's what I wish for people, connect. Anyway, it's amazing because I speak with a lot of coaches and parenting coaches, and the 18 to 30-year-old group of parents of 18 to 30-year-olds are reaching out for coaches. Most people think it's little kids, but it's 18 to 30-year-olds because when you talk about what this wonderful grandma is doing, suicide, this is the group that's suicidal, depressed, addiction problems. Why? There's a disconnection. It's like 40% of young adults say they feel disconnected to their families even.
They are disconnected because they're electronic, right? So there's no interface.
So you have to use that device for the opposite to catch them because nobody's going to sit down and have a conversation. If I want my kids to talk to me, I have to text them.
Yeah.
Please call me.
Yeah. Yeah. And then they probably text back and say, I'll call you later. And then, or you're like, hey, show up for dinner at such and such a time. And then you can actually get FaceTime, right?
I'm like, can you please give me 5 minutes?
Yeah. It reminds me, the 18 to 30-year-olds, gosh, I didn't realize what the pandemic did to the kids who were graduating high school, starting college. One of my clients had a really hard decision do I send my son to college or do I leave him or do I keep him at home because of the pandemic? Well, she sent him to college, but they all were in lockdown. It was freshman year of 2020, right? They were all in lockdown. So they were isolated in their own dorm room with no one. And that had to just be crushing on so many levels for everybody, for her and for her son. But then what happened the next year, and this is something that I had never even considered. The next year, okay, he's a freshman, now he's a sophomore. The freshmen are coming in and they're having all the social interaction of being in dorms, being able to talk to people, not being isolated. And then the sophomore, they don't know what to do. They don't have the social skills. They don't have the camaraderie. They don't have the people. And so they basically got jumped over. And, they're still trying to catch up. I mean, all these kiddos that, what would it be? However old they are now, they're still trying to catch up because they basically got jumped. In fact, they had the drive-by graduation ceremonies. I mean,
remember those? Those were crazy. I felt bad for so many kids who just didn't have graduation. Like,
right.
Any graduation. Yeah, I was like, this is a milestone. Like, you wait for this. And then you get 2 tickets. Like, your family wants to come watch you graduate and they can't. You're watching it on Zoom,
You're watching it go by down the street. I mean, some of my parents' kids, the graduation ceremony goes past them and they're sitting in cars. It's just like, oh my gosh. So
going on. Yeah.
I think what you're doing is hugely important right now, Tammy. I think this book is just hugely important for people of this age, the 18 to 30-year-olds, like you say. God bless you for doing this work. I think it's amazing. And isn't it true that what we teach is what we most need to learn? So what you're saying is what you most need to hear. And I bet this book will bring you great comfort too, as you go into your therapy and whatnot, of course.
Yeah, that's why, what? It's like, I realize, because I'm like, God, I love God. Like, God is my thing. Okay. And I'm just like, God, thank you. Thank you I never set out to write a book. Okay. I just wanted to message my kids. The reason I put it into the first book is because people heard what I was doing, colleagues, friends, and they're like, that's so beautiful. You should put it in a book. So I put it in a book. But I realized, like, there was a reason, like starting a women's business network, doing all this stuff, like meeting people. How are you? Connecting with people. And then the messages and stuff was just really part of my journey, because this is what I need. There's so many women in my network who have breast cancer. Like, I had people to go to. Like, it just was amazing to me, like how everything kind of, when you just let it, and it just comes to you. And even how we met.
Yeah.
It happens. It comes. We met on a network. Alignable. We just started talking, and then you spoke to the group, and I was like, wow, I like her. I want to try her services. So everything comes together the way it's supposed to. You just have to be open. You have to be open to.
Yeah, open and full of love and full of expectation, I think. Being expecting good things, and being open and receptive to whatever that means. Because oftentimes the dip can be the good thing, right? The dip can be like, oh, it's like, oh, something's good's going to come out of this one. So, yeah, I think that's definitely.
Yeah, you totally pivot faster when you look at it as like, life is my friend. Good friend, and life isn't trying to give me anything that's going to hurt me. A good friend doesn't want to hurt me. So the pivot is better when you look at it. I'm going to learn from this. It's going to change me. Like, I realize so much more. My eyes are more open since I got this diagnosis. As it is scary, it is anxiety provoking, but my eyes are open because I'm seeing things that I didn't think about before, and I'm saying, wow, like, this is really important. And I've been saying I'm blessed, and people are like, what are you talking about? I'm like, I'm blessed.
You are blessed.
Laid out the way it is. And yeah.
Yeah.
So, and that was because of all the prep before that I didn't know I was doing.
Yeah, imagine that. Like, if you hadn't done all this prep prior to this. So now that you're going to learn and grow, and your healing will be much faster too. Because I really believe that dis-ease, if you're with ease, then healing can happen, and our
Yeah,
bodies
I'm
are.
going to be meditating all through treatment. I can tell you that much.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I've heard having your practitioners also do prayers and whatnot as you go into things is a really powerful, powerful thing. Even if they don't even believe it, if they just say the words, maybe they do some Hebrew for you, or whatever. It's powerful.
Oh yeah. I mean, we have, the Psalms of David, we call them Tehillim, and there's so many people. I have a whole list of people who need Tehillim that I say for. And I know a lot of people saying for me. My son had a crazy situation health-wise also. At the same time I was diagnosed. So we've just been really blessed with the way everything's unfolded. But my youngest, but yeah, it's prayer. Prayer is, I say people always pray. They're like, what can I do for you? I'm like, pray, just say a prayer. That's it. You don't have to do anything because it'll work out the way it's supposed to. That's how I
It's
look
powerful.
at it.
It's
Yeah.
very powerful stuff for sure. So let's talk about your podcast a little bit. I want everybody to tune into your podcast and tell me, you talked a little bit. It's called Women Beyond the Table podcast, right?
Mhm.
So tell me about the Women Beyond the Table. Explain how you came up with that title, because I found it very intriguing.
Oh, wow. So how did Women Beyond the Table start, right? It was a pandemic and we were all shut down, and I asked like a couple of my friends, I was like, how you doing? Like, how you guys doing? Like, because nobody was working and it was weird.
Yeah.
And I was like, we should have a call just to see how we're doing. So I made a little agenda, like, okay. And so half of I saw friends who were like, the Great Resignation, thinking, I don't want to go back to where I was. I want to start something else. I want to do something else. So, okay. So the first call was like, how you doing? And the second call was like, okay, how do we find the right suppliers of services that, because you need a website, you need a content writer, you need digital help, like all this stuff, like, who do you talk to for that? And you want to you want to have a supplier that you can trust, because you know what? Like, I would Google content writer, 10,000 people come up and you don't know who's right. And then you like click on one thing and then you get 10 days of nonstop emails because you clicked on something, right? So I was like, okay, so this was how Women Beyond the Table started. That was it. So the first call was 3 people. And then somebody, I have somebody who's a website developer. Like, we should bring them on. I'm like, okay, bring them on a call. I make an agenda. It was 3 things, like, how you doing? And so, yeah, that's how it came about. So what happened was, I say in 2023, like the beginning of, so we were talking about making podcasts because we had like 30 women who were like tuning in regularly. And they all had great stories. They were all doing really cool things. So we wanted to promote our members at that time more. Like now it's a lot of outside guests come on, but we're like, let's get them on because they have great stories.
Yeah.
But I didn't know how to do a podcast. Well, I don't know, like writing a book. I didn't know how to do it. So I was like, trying to figure out how to start a podcast. So some of the women in the group, I was like, do you know anybody who knows how to do a podcast? Like, you connect me. That's how we started a podcast. And now we're in the middle of season 3. It's still new, and it's fun because we just let the women, we tell their story, and they share everything, like, their challenges. I can tell you, I've heard stories. I know the women, or it's not like a complete stranger I'm talking to. Sometimes it is, but I'll read their hit, like, and sometimes you hear things that you had no idea they went through. Like, horrible things. And I'm just like during the podcast, I'm like, oh my God, and it's so moving. It's moving for me. I'm like sitting there listening, and it's very emotional. And you get into it, but people get a chance to really share, which is what I like. And I learn more about like what they're doing in their work and their job. And my favorite question always is, what would you tell your younger self? Because they learn so much. Like, what would you tell? And I'm always interested in what they tell their younger self, because I believe
that's coming up.
Yeah.
That's coming up for you, my friend. But the women beyond the table, I found it interesting because, you co-own a restaurant with your husband. I'm like, okay, so they're not at the table. They're beyond the table.
Oh, I never answered the question. So I'm sitting in the pandemic. I'm trying to think of a name for this group. So I was thinking, for some reason, King Arthur's Round Table popped into my head with the knights. And I only had 3 people in call, so I'm like, table with knights, okay. And then I was like, but women have a seat at the table. Like, okay, we used to serve, and then I was like, wow, like women used to serve. Remember, they used to serve the table. They used to bring the cups, they bring everything, and they used to serve. They didn't sit at the table. And then we started getting a seat at the table, but let's go beyond the table. So that's how it all came about, but it was the Knights of the Round Table visualization in my head. I never answered that question. Oh my God.
Got it. Okay, because I've been wondering about that ever since we met years ago, and I'm like, oh, that's really, because it's a really cool name, and WBTT, and it's kind of cool. So I thought that was neat. Well, plus I was thinking about your restaurant, thinking there was some parallel there, but that's great. Okay, so three more questions. Okay, first question is, I have to ask this: what's your favorite organizing system? And I know you're very organized and you're very systematic. What do you do that keeps you linear and on track? What's your favorite device or whatever?
Like a device?
Well, or a practice, or
okay. So there's a couple of things that I learned. Well, actually, okay, I learned from you. So I block my day. Okay, so in the morning is, and I'm not like one of those. I used to be the 5 a.m. club because I thought I had to be the 5 a.m. club, but I don't do it anymore. I get up when it works for me, and I do my personal time. Okay. So I do my meditation, my journaling, I do positive intelligence like every day. I do that stuff. I pray. I'll do my yoga. I do a little Tai Chi. I try to get my workout in. And then I can start the day with the creative, because once you do the PQ, you can start being more creative. Like, okay, I have a little, yes, I do have what I want to, the 3 or 4 things I want to get done in the day. And then I go a little bit into creative where I just like let my mind open up so I can get, okay, this is a new idea. This is something or a new way I could approach something. I don't procrastinate. I plan one step at a time. And I take one step. So what's that one step I'm going to do right now for the book? What's the one step I'm going to do that I need to do for the restaurant? What's the one step I need to do to make sure that everything is going smoothly in the gem and jewelry? So I take care of women beyond the table as what do I need, the one step. So I keep it organized like that so that it's just one step and I don't get overwhelmed. And I love that's been very helpful for me. And my Google Calendar is like something I love. I'm always looking at the Google Calendar because it keeps me very much like on track and up. And I had a Calendly a long time ago. I'm bringing that back. Remember we spoke about that. I'm bringing back the Calendly now that I understand how to combine different calendars under one. So it'll be like, so I can really schedule the calls much better and be better at it. So those are things I learned from you.
Oh, well, that's cool. I appreciate that. I just love the fact that you said, I have just a few lists, because so many people, 41% of our to-do lists never get done. And so by having one main thing for each of your ventures is a brilliant idea. And I think everybody listening out there, because there's so many people that we have more than one thing, we all have more than one thing as women entrepreneurs. So, but still just don't overload yourself with multiple tasks. So follow what Tammy does, because she's got it going on and you get so much done. It's so impressive how you work.
Because I reduced my life to one step at a time, so you can, because it's so easy to get overwhelmed. Plus, when you do one step, another step opens. And when you do one step, you can pivot when something, starts going that way, because you didn't already you're not why worry about everything you have to do? Because you don't know how it's going to go anyway. So just do the one thing and see how it goes. Yeah.
And generally the hardest thing, which is why I love when you start with your creative, your open mind, your open spirit, your body's moving, you're in that creative zone, you do your hardest thing, and then the other things just kind of fall into place. A lot of people they don't get centered, and then they start doing their busy work. And I was a culprit at that the first 3 years of my career, as a professional organizer. I was just busy, 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 not really getting it that I wasn't doing the big thing. So that's great advice. Okay, next question. What would you tell your 18-year-old self now looking back? What words of advice would you give her?
It's okay to fail. You're going to be fine. You're great. You believe in yourself. Don't be afraid to ask. Okay. Listen when people are talking. Listen to what they're saying. Become the observer in the room and work on your finances. Understand finances and understand how to build your assets and start now.
Yeah. No, that's a lot of good advice. That's a lot of advice.
I would just sit her down and be like, sweetie, listen to me, because I'm from the future. I'm telling you right now.
From the future. Start saving now.
Yeah.
I tell myself, as I made so much money over the years, like, really.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, like, why didn't I think of that? Okay.
Yeah. Good advice. Okay. Third and last question. Actually, I have two more. So the next one is what can people do, download, get from you if they want to learn more? I want everybody to pre-order this book. So I'm putting the link down below. Pre-order her book. And actually, this podcast might happen right as the book is being released. So go ahead and grab a copy of her book and or pre-order it. The links will be below. And is there anything else that I have not asked you that you wanted to discuss during this podcast?
Well, it's interesting because download-wise, so my new website, my TC brand consulting website is transitioning to Tammy J Cohen because I realize I'm the brand, so a new website's being developed. It's going to come out probably by mid-April. There's going to be a download on there, and it's going to be the first, the first pages of the book, and then for chapter 1, it's going to have some messages in there so you can get a good feeling of it and the why of it. And so that's going to be the download. And the website is going to be tammyjcohen.com. It's just not up right now because it's under development.
It will be when this is released. It'll be out there. And so make sure to go to tammyjcohen.com, get your download, and actually order the book. Go ahead and just order the book, whether it's pre-order or whether you're going to order the real copy or whatever you want to do. I'm sure it's going to be in digital form and in paperback form. So do whatever you want with that, but make sure that you read it. We all know someone who is struggling with someone else who's 18 to 30. We all know that. I mean, whether we have kids or not, I don't have kids, but I have several clients and several friends who are up against this, especially the 18 to 25, not being able to communicate, not being able to really relate. I hear people talking about, the new generation. I was like, oh, you're sounding so old now. I mean, come on, let's meet them on where they are so that you can get to know them more. So,
it's just a different way. Listen, I remember when I was young and my grandmother was showing her how to put the VHS, and the cable. She was just like, oh my God. And it was like cable. Okay, and I put the VHS in, remember the VHS in the machine. And I was like, and I know how to do it. It's just something new, but it's a different way to communicate, but that's how they do it.
Right.
So I noticed that disconnection can happen at any age. I know people who are my age, I'm 62, who are not okay. And even from Women Beyond Table, and I sent a message of like, hey, how are you doing? And you know what, like, you got this, or what do you need? Or let me figure this out for you. An encouraging message. It could be for anybody at any age. You could do it. And I think it's just, you help somebody, just send them help along the way. And there's something that I want to tell the audience, because Kathi told me this: don't procrastinate. Anything you want to do, you go do it, and you take that first step. And the motivation comes after. So even if you have a big task to do or something big for work or something big you want to do, just break it down and do the first step. Don't procrastinate, because the more you procrastinate, the worse it gets later on. It becomes daunting. And I'm so grateful that I practiced making sure that I got my steps done, and I didn't procrastinate on a lot of the big asks from my publisher, from the group, from work, because now that I'm going into treatment, I'm not overwhelmed at all, because everything's been done, and the next step is always manageable. If I had a lot still to do, I would be very, very discombobulated. So listen to the organizer, Kathi Burns. I'm repeating it, okay, because it's what I learned. Do not procrastinate.
I love that. Thank you so much. I did not expect all the kudos, but I really appreciate you. I love you. You're just an amazing powerhouse of a person, and I'm so glad that we had the opportunity to meet and become friends. So yeah. Anyhow, I'm going to cry. So anyhow, it's enough. And I think we've finished our podcast for the day. Make sure to tune in to When Beyond the Table podcast. I'll put the link there as well. And we'll play more together. Until next time, gang, go ahead, say something nice to somebody, reach out. You can never have too much nice. Like, you can never say too many good things to too many people. It just doesn't happen. Even if you hate the person, if you say something nice to them, it's going to resonate. So, although we should never hate, right? But you know what I mean? In fact, what I think, and you can confirm this, Tammy, that the people that cause you the angst are the people that probably need the most love. So nothing wrong at all with just reaching out and sending a little bit of sunshine here, there, and thither.
Mm-hmm. I agree. You just don't know where a person is coming from. Like, you don't know what's happening to them. You don't know how they live. You don't know anything about their life. So sometimes we judge. We judge ourselves. We judge others. We judge situations. So the judge is a saboteur. We all have it. So the idea is, when that little judge rears his head, I say to mine, I go, "Hey, Judge Judy, take a break, and let's get you not here on the left side. Let's get you over. This is PQ, positive intelligence, to the right side. And let's be empathetic for 5 minutes. Or let's be a little bit curious. What's going on with this person that they're so aggressive or upset? And even if you can't be empathetic or curious, just don't judge them. Don't bring, because the more you judge them, the more anger they're going to throw at you, because they're going through a lot. You just don't know what it is. So yeah.
Yeah, and the more you judge them, you're more judging yourself anyhow. So, we're all a unity.
And you're in the judge, and you're you're going into a fight,
Yeah. Okay, well, this has been great. I will see you guys next week, same time, same bat channel. Please tune in. If you like this podcast, give us some love. Please give us a thumbs up. The ultimate thing is to give a comment below. That really helps us grow both of our channels. So until then, guys, we'll see you. And thank you, Tammy, so much.
Oh, thank you, Kathi. I love this conversation, and I'm so happy to be your guest. I really appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely. Okay, until next time, gang, we'll see you later. Hey, thanks for listening to this podcast. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you want to hear more, feel free to subscribe on the platform of your choice. Also, if you feel so inclined, I would truly appreciate a good rating from you to me. Have a stellar day.